Okay. Welcome back. It feels like it's been a while, even though it really hasn't. It hasn't been a while. But yeah, I was kind of out of it last week, so no stream. But feeling better. It might not sound like it. That's just allergies talking. You know, they are rough out here. But yeah, welcome back. So I guess I kind of finished the Blood Ravens off camera a little bit. And there are, yeah. So I'll probably do a little video for them, just kind of finalizing that. Technically, there's still some little things that still to do and that could be done on camera, but you know, we don't have to belabor the point. I think that they've had their time in the sun, and I definitely want to keep it pushing because there's still so many more miniatures from these boxes that need to get painted. But yeah, so during the last stream, I think it was, we did start the Salamanders, and I think that was actually with this guy, test model for the Salamander Infernus squad. And yeah, so it was kind of rough actually, in hindsight. I think maybe the big problem was they were primed. I primed them all black, and the green colors that I had were really hard to get coverage over the black base coat or the black primer, and so it ended up taking a lot to get them up to a shade that felt more salamandery. Even on camera, this looks kind of dark angel's green. It looks a little brighter in person though, I promise. So maybe that's something I gotta, like, you know, white balance the camera or something. See if we can get that, you know, looking more like real life. Opa. Maybe that's something I should mess with when I'm not in the middle of the stream. So yeah, but we did the one guy on the stream, and I did not necessarily learn any lessons from that process, and I did the whole rest of the Infernus squad basically the same way. The only notable difference was I tried with there's a good number of them that, you know, they're kind of in the act here of firing their pyre blasters. That's what they're called. They're pyre blaster flamethrowers, and so for those I kind of tried to hit them from the front with a lighter primer, so that we could hopefully create like a lighting effect, an OSL, make it look like the light from their pyre blasters is illuminating them from the front. And yeah, so I don't think that it came out badly or anything, but I was just kind of making it up as I went along. So I don't know how effective it'll translate. And once I finished that, I went and did the green on them afterwards, but I only did one layer. So the rest of these brothers are decently green, still a little dark for salamanders. And then also you can see on this guy, in the process of doing this kind of light primer on the front, I didn't completely cover, or rather I should say, the primer really hit right here on this side of them, because obviously, you know, there's only this much real estate on the miniature. There's not that much on this side to be lighting up, so a lot of it concentrated over here. And when I went back through to put on the base coat of green and black and all that stuff, that did do a decent amount to kind of obscure the lighter primer. And so just kind of marking where I had that effect, I did the base of these sections with gray instead of black. And I didn't do the same thing with the green. I didn't like use a lighter green on those. I don't know what difference it will make, if any at all. So, but I did kind of want to mark the areas that I thought would be hitting the light. But then yesterday I did a little bit more painting, and I tested something out. So I have one of these Infernus Marines firing his Pyre Blaster, and what I did was I went and got one of these makeup sponges, because at the time I didn't have any really effective airbrush paint that I could use for building up the colors, but I had heard that using these makeup sponges can be a good alternative. And so I did that. It's kind of a sort of a dry brushing process. You damp the sponge, get some color on there, offload a bunch of it, and then sort of dab it on. And I actually recorded some of that process, and I'll post a video later this week with that. But yeah, so I hit him at the base level with some orange glow, and then went back over with a yellow. I actually have a couple more yellows because I bought some more airbrush paint that was mostly for basing in the future, but the yellow that it came with was also a little lighter than the yellow that I already had, so I used that to build up a little bit for some brightness. And I don't think it's bad for an OSL effect. I think if anything, I might have pushed the yellow a little bit too far, and so the transition to the orange doesn't seem very strong on this guy. So I might like to see that more, but I don't know. I think across the entirety of him, it's kind of, I think it's a little clearer what's going on. So this was the test model. The other thing that I realized was it was going to be in my best interest to basically do all of this OSL effect at the very end. This guy, he had basically just the green base coat and the brown base coat on for the chest eagle, the leather, and purity seals and all that. And most of the work on the Pyre Blaster itself wasn't even done. So I will need to figure out how I'm gonna, reverse that process for him. I'm probably just gonna have to paint over things and then do it a second time. But we are in a position now to go ahead and take those next steps with the rest of them. I think at my last count there were 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are realistically, I think there's more like 6 guys that really seem kind of in the act of blasting pyres. So I don't know if I'm gonna have all of them lit up and such, but I think I'll try. I got some flamethrower effects that are 3D printable. I'm gonna try and print some of those up to affix to the front of their flamethrowers, to kind of complete the effect. I think my hesitation with things like that is just I don't like having, you know, especially for a flamethrower, to really sell it. You kind of need something projecting a decent distance out from the gun, and I don't like having something like that. I mean, it looks cool, but I don't want it on the tabletop. It's just kind of getting in the way. So we'll see if it can find a decent medium between size and believability. But for now, I think we're just going to go through and hit the rest of the base food. I don't know if I'm going to do another pass of the green right now, but I did get some green in that airbrush pack that I was talking about, so it might be worth trying that out. But definitely we're going to do the rest of the Pyre Blasters. I have a few of them, the guys who I don't consider to be actively shooting. I did go ahead and do some metallic on their Pyre Blasters just to kind of get a vibe for it. I tried on this guy to do kind of a little bit of a muzzle burn effect. It's very understated, I would say, but it's kind of there. So we might try that with the rest of them. We'll see. But yeah, I think for the whole rest of the squad, that's kind of the goal for this one, is to go ahead and get the other base effects done, so that we can come back and do these OSL lighting effects. When I do start them again, I think I am going to try with the airbrush. I'm really inexperienced with the airbrush, but I've been doing a little research, and think I've got a little bit of a better grasp now on the process. And I've also got some slightly better tools, so hopefully I can pull it off. But for today, it will just be brush and palette. I also did a bunch of adjustments to the audio, so hopefully things are improved. I feel like that's become... I've gone and messed up my bristles here. But yeah, I feel like getting the audio to the right volume and clarity and stuff has been just as much of a journey as the painting. It's kind of funny. But getting started, I say let's go ahead and pull the metallic for the Pyre Blasters, which for that I've just been using a vanilla copper paint, hammered copper from Vallejo Game Color. Does a pretty good job. I also, you can see here in the background, I found a baggie that had a squad of half-completed Pathfinders from years ago, and Blessed be my past self, who was probably just as neurotic as I am today about having my options. I had magnetized them so that they can have up to 3 rail rifles in the squad, which just became relevant after the latest balanced data slate from Games Workshop has finally helped fix the Tau aiming deficiencies. So that feels good. Now I just need to finish putting them together. The flamer effect files that I picked up, there's one, actually a couple of packages. One is from Deadly Print Studios, and that's kind of an extended gout of flame shooting out a good distance. And the other one has some effects like that, but I got it mostly because it also has kind of some smaller flames that you could see as like, you know, the pilot lights just sitting on the front of the fire blasters, which, you know, should still shed some light, especially since these are Space Marine weapons. So probably pretty strong. But they also will not be big, obnoxious, super effects like taking up a bunch of space on the model and the board. I'm going to be keeping the Pyre Blasters pretty simple. I'm just going to do this copper on the barrels, and then the main casing will be black, and then we'll do probably silver on the other metallic details, like the fuel canister and the other parts in the nozzle. So have a little bit of flavor, a little bit of variety, but pretty simple overall. Bronze has gone astray. That's alright, we'll be cutting that up. go. If I remember correctly, I also managed to get some transfers, some water transfers that will hopefully have some salamander parts on them, some emblems. I don't remember for sure if that was included. They're like secondhand, you know. Somebody used the parts that they wanted and put the rest up online for cheap, and I snapped them up. But I don't remember now if they were multiple chapters. It might be that I only got Raven stuff, since I know that some more of these models will be Blood Ravens in the future. So I wanted to get some transfers and hopefully not have to go through the stress of rehanding more emblems. I definitely would not be up for doing the salamander dragon heads. Oh man. It's a big storm over here. A week or so ago. And I feel like it just kicked up tons and tons of pollen and absolutely wrecked my allergies. Okay. Hopefully that trumpeting was muted. Now, unfortunately, I have to report that I don't have any narrative prepared for this stream. I've been very distracted and did not get around to it. Sometimes I end up just kind of scrambling and hammering out a little something like right before. Well, not right before, but the day of. And did not have the time or opportunity to do that today. So that will have to be something for next time. Although I do have now the skeleton of kind of where it'll go. I think I mentioned last time, because we were starting the Salamanders last time, that even though I'm getting into these green boys, that the narrative will stick with the Blood Ravens of Squad Aurora, at least for a little bit. And then we'll probably run into the other Space Marines in short order. I wonder if it would be worth trying to do a heated barrel effect on these, some of these pyroblasters. I mean, I'm sure a Space Marine flamer can get hot enough to make a barrel glow. If for no other reason than that it looks cool. It doesn't feel like the copper doesn't really care at all about the difference in lightness and darkness between the parts of this barrel. They're all coming out basically the same. But that shouldn't be a problem when it comes time to actually do the lighting effect, I think. Just based on our test model from yesterday. You just kind of go over the barrel and should look fine. Alright, one more. Crystal seems to have gone back to place, so that's good. Hopefully it stays there. Alright. That is 10 copper barrels. Well, technically 9 copper barrels and one that has been covered with yellow. I mean, realistically, I want to go ahead and just put some paint on here, right? Otherwise, it just sticks black with inconvenient speckles. Just kind of try to feather it a little bit so that looks like the light is kind of taking over. the metal. It's something. I don't want to go crazy on that guy painting over the effect that's already there. I think it'll be useful for comparison. Alright, so that is all the copper base. We might revisit it with some of the fuel canisters, because I'm not sure that I want to paint the whole canister in silver. But let's go to the black next, just because I know for sure that that's what we want. Opa! It's going right out. I'll try this. This is the new, one of the new paints that I got in the airbrush set. It's Army Painter Grand, and I do hear often that people like to use airbrush paints because they don't necessarily need to be thinned. They're already pretty thin right out of the pot. So you know what? We'll just put it to the test right here and now. Let's see. I think we can. Yeah, well, closer. Paint on my camera. Alright, so I am gonna kind of defer to some official imagery here. Kind of makes most of the weapon body / casing black. Might even be a little too thin right at the pot. It's okay if I need a couple passes. Oh, this one had I missed this purity seal while I was doing the brown. How much we can get in here? Maybe not too far. I don't really know how much this spray that I did on the lit up side is going to serve me. But I am going to leave it on just in case. I do have a couple of them where I purposefully didn't do that just to see if how pronounced the difference is between one that's kind of got this pre-highlight here versus these that are just black. See how clearly the difference shows up, if at all. Now, that's going to need a couple of passes. That being the case, I think I'm going to go ahead and use it. And some other areas, the under armor where it's visible. Not in too many spots, actually. Yeah, it's going to be the same for most of them. These guys, firebox, renew, black on it. Probably. Just to be thorough. Yeah, now part of me wants to go to the silver metallic and do that first, so there's a little bit more contrast. But that's not really going to save any time. Save it for last. Already been 40 minutes? That's crazy. It'd be nice if I'm sure there's a way to do it on OBS to show when people can join. Otherwise, I have no idea without actually hearing or seeing something in chat. Yeah, I have a window for that. Probably another window that I can pull up for viewers, just so I can be sure and say hi when anybody pops in. This apparatus. This guy's lower hand has basically no green on it at all. Well, it does have this light side, so it's primed for the glow effect. The green ended up on this side. Getting much more into that crevice. Okay, so I think that I've kind of kept the guys I already did on this right side, so let's reshuffle so I can keep track of who's already gotten paint on them. I thought. I'm tired. This one's really pretty well covered by the primer, but technically you're really not supposed to just leave the primer bare to the sky. We will do a path with the black. Okay. This I initially wasn't going to bother with doing bases on any of these starter box minis, but I think that I might try and get some of that kind of instant base effect paint, like Astro Granite or something, and just do a pass of that on all of them. Except for maybe the Tyranids, I'll go for some mud stuff. Give them some goopy. Some goopy biomatter soup to be wading through. I like having made all of the pyroblasters all holding their weapons in different ways. So we've got the bottom grip here, some are using the handle up top. Nice little touch. Okay. That paper is crinkling up. I'm not going to pause and try to revitalize it, but it shrivels up like a dead spider. There's too much paint. Yeah. Let me see if I can make this up some more. Might have to replace the sheet. You are next. Oh, I hadn't even thought about, since I'm painting salamanders, I gotta do this guy with the cool salamander skin. Which is a funny thing to be excited about, because painting skin and faces is about as hard as it is, hard as it comes. And I don't know why I would think it would be any easier with salamander skin. Now this thing is supposed to be some kind of marksman battle honor, which I think is supposed to be gold in the lore. So that probably needs a brown base coat at the very least. Let's see if I remember to come back to it. This is starting to dry out a little bit fast. Alright, and that leaves just two. Can't wait to go back and do the gold on their chests and get it on the weapons, just like I did with the brown. I have to go back and touch them up all over again. It's this cycle, you know? Let's see if I can get through in here. Okay, Bob. Yeah, so I'm not gonna go any further out on the handle here. Let that stay basically yellow like it is. So that hopefully it will read as the glow. And I'll show you that guy. Okay, so now let's do another metallic, which I didn't do right away because I wasn't sure what to choose. So I've got silver, aluminum. This one is gunmetal. Seems pretty on brand. This is gunmetal, but not airbrush. I think I'm gonna do that. Just because the airbrush black was kind of failing a little bit towards the end. Try to keep it simple. What the heck is going on here? And drop the water. And alright, so we start with this gunmetal pass over the lower part of the nozzle here. And we'll do, I think I'll just cover the canister with it. Because I can still go back and do the other detail bits on it later with some other color. If that feels like the move. This, the gunmetal does not hit as hard as I was expecting. And it might just be because it's a thin coat. Seen some people recommend getting like a electric electric nail file to use for trimming down areas of flash like this. I don't know if you can see it very clearly. But that's where, right here is where it was clipped off the sprue. And I try to do those as smoothly as I can, but there's definitely some visible marks sometimes. Apparently, these electric nail files, this is basically just like a Dremel, I guess, but more detail oriented. Yeah. Might be worth a try. All right. Right. So this part of the nozzle will do the canister. There's also this this other sort of canister-like piece on top that I could not fathom the purpose of, but I think that can pick out in the metal as well. Boom. Interesting how that shows up so clearly on camera. and it's a little bit more subdued in real life. These parts are always a little tricky. Not because they're hard to reach or anything, but you pin the wrong way, they'll get in between the bristles of your brush and start pushing them apart. It's very annoying. What if I do this? Yeah, it definitely feels to me like the details on this canister, these fuel canisters, deserve at least one other color, but I'm not sure what that should be. I feel like whatever it is should be appropriate for the skulls that are on them, as well as these bands. Can maybe do red, so it's, you know, just like a volatile material warning. Or yellow maybe. I don't know if that'll look good compared to everything else. Yeah, that is deep in as we can get right there. Could do a handle maybe. It doesn't really show on most of the other guys, but it will on at least two of them. A little bit more visual interest. I don't remember what color I painted the grip on the bolters that the other guys have. But I guess they're technically from different chapters, so they don't have any particular reason to be the same colors, same design choices. Oh, hey. We've got an ad here for boosting viewers. Rad. I don't think I've had that before. Okay. Dylan 734. These are fiddly little bits. Oh my. Midnight is voicing her displeasure that everybody is distracted right now. It's not as though we weren't just playing for hours. Running around outside. Could never be enough. And why should it, after all? For a young pup with lots of energy. This barely even got any primer on it. So let's see if this metallic even grips. Let's see, you did your little thing, right? So easy to accidentally skip a part and not notice it until you come back to do something else. All wrapped up in another color, another process. And that's how they get missed until the very end. So you put it on the tabletop and somebody picks it up and they're like, hey, how come you didn't paint this part? You're just like, use your imagination, bud. There's really no part of the grip that's going to be visible on these guys that are actually firing their weapons. So, I don't really need to worry about putting silver on those. Or gunmetal, as the case may be. I wonder if for the metal parts, when I go to do the fire glow, maybe I should like go over those with some gold or something? I don't know, maybe that would help sell the effect that it's metal being lit up with this bright yellow light. I don't know what happens with light. If it's some kind of physicist. think so. Oh my gosh, I've never gotten more spam calls in my life than I have this week, and I don't know why. My phone is ringing 10, 20 times a day. I haven't decided yet, but I'm heavily considering doing some more detail work on the backpacks. They've got kind of this... Oh, hi, princess. She wants to show off her piggy. They've got these exhaust vent thingies. There's kind of a shell area, and then the vent proper, and the smaller ones down here. And I think that I've definitely seen it before where people have done those in like a metallic or something, and I think that would look really good. But I haven't decided yet. Linda's gonna start barking at me. Do some gunmetal on this knife. Come to think of it, I probably should have put some copper or something on the hilt of it. So it's gonna have some color. I got opened out real fast. The metallic is separating a little bit. Let me mix it up again. What is this? Let's see any points here on the blade. I think I'll probably just do the rest of the blade part, or the rest of the knife parts gold, just because it's such a Space Marine thing to be trimmed up with. Oh, nope, I completely forgot his nozzle bits. So easy. Especially if there's just like one different detail on the guy. Oh yeah, let's hit that. And then, once you've done it, you've broken the routine. So it's suddenly easy to forget which parts you got. Or, you know, maybe that's not normal at all, and you're just easily distracted. Alright. That's it. As it's gonna get. Oh, Minna. Seen somebody doing something. Minna. Pupper dog. You gotta relax. They can, no, they can do stuff on their property. That's okay. Uh-oh. You're gonna get you're gonna get in trouble with mommy. Yeah, you're gonna get in trouble with mommy. Eh. We gotta teach you how to do an inside bark. Hmm? Good girl, that's an inside bark. Bobo. Eh. She's fine. It's not a big deal. It's not like there's people watching. Sweet. Wow, that sounds ominous, but I'm curious all the same. How on earth am I going to eat pizza while still painting? Can you imagine the device, the apparatus that's going to have to be hooked up to my head? I'm picturing like one of those things that you use to raise your laptop on your desk so you can stand up, but it's just for a plate of pizza. You just kind of lean over to take a bite. Some pizza would have been a great opportunity for me to do the story segment if I had been prepared. But alas, I was not. I did try a little experiment between streams to try to record some some Space Marine voice lines for, you know, storytelling purposes, but my voice modifying effort left a lot to be desired. So I did not end up featuring that. It seems as though you can get like professional voice modulators to do stuff like that, but you have to pay for it, and that's not something I'm willing to do. Though I'm glad that such things exist. Yeah, I hate that. Get out of there. Alright. One step closer to burning bugs. Games Workshop had a new release, or rather a pre-order for a new release over the last weekend for a Tyrannid slash Mechanicus kill team, and in peak Games Workshop fashion, they produced like 10 copies, sold out in 5 seconds. So was not able to give them my money. Oh, bummer. I do really want those revenues, though. But the set also comes with some Tyrannid terrain, which is, you know, not something there's a lot of. And I don't think that that's going to be, something tells me that's not going to be sold separately. So that's the real disappointment. The Raveners, those will definitely be available later. And I wasn't interested in the Mechanicus parts at all, so it's not such a great loss. But having some matching terrain to go with my Tyrannids once I get them painted would have been pretty dope. I think I've seen some files online for 3D printed terrain that's gotten Tyrannid vibes. So maybe I can track that down and that'll work. Mm-hmm. There's still one squad of these starter box Marines that I haven't decided what to do with yet. I'm looking for my water bottle. already talked enough that my throat is drying out. Technically, I have a bottle of water right there, but I use it for thinning down the paint. There's no paint in it. I would just look insane squirting it into my mouth. So, I am resistant. But, yeah. Still a squad of Marines. I think that they're regular intercessors, or maybe, no, they're definitely not heavy intercessors. I think they're just regular intercessors. And I haven't decided yet how to assign, or I guess what force to assign them to. One of their members is a heavy bolter. And the rest all just have regular bolters. I already know that the Terminators in the Dreadnought will be Blood Raven reinforcements. And so far, the Huntsman, the homebrew chapter, has the least representation because the only models I have planned for them are the Outriders, but that's kind of the way I want to keep it, because the Huntsmen are really focused on fast attack. So it's very appropriate for them to be represented by the Outriders, and none of the other units really fit their doctrine. Ooh, my nose itches. So that kind of leaves the Salamanders, which, you know, it's not the worst thing. There's no reason that it can't be. In fact, it would probably be a little odd if there was just one single squad of stranded Salamanders, as opposed to a small crew inhabiting their stranded ship. So it's looking like there'll be Salamanders. I haven't decided yet. As it happens, I am very indecisive. Oh, there's a pup. Are the neighbors neighboring again? Alright, that leaves two of you. What, what do you see, baby girl? She makes the funniest little faces. Staring at the ghosts in the room. Yeah, could probably use another black pass. Although I think most of this is going to get another, probably another pass of everything, to be honest. A lot of these greens are still a little bit dark for my taste. Probably won't be mistaken for Dark Angels, but why risk it? Oh. Right. Yeah. Doohickey on top. I think I mostly managed to keep from wandering the mini off camera this session, so that's good. Kind of progress. Oop. And then we got this guy who's all lit up. Obviously, there's no point in painting silver over these nozzle parts that are already maybe just a teeny hint in the back. I don't know. Now these parts that have no color, obviously they gotta get hit. A decent amount of this guy is gonna have to be repainted basically, but not entirely. I'm careful. I might be able to get by just doing some touch-ups. Top part. Oh, that's very cool. Thank you. Thank you. Linda's very jealous. Can you grab my water bottle? I think it's in our bedroom. Get a little bit more in here. that puppy. Oh, that puppy. I don't like closing the door on her if she starts off calm. But I know that if I do, or if I don't rather, at some point in the 2+ hours of a stream, she'll get riled up about something. Does everybody have a pistol? Oh, they do. I'm not doing that. It's not for you, sweetheart. You can't have pizza. Yeah. Where is she? There she is. There she is. Yeah, she's a jealous little girl. She always wants whatever we've got on the table. No, it's not for puppies. Oh, another scam call. Fun, fun, fun. Alright. Bite-sized pieces of pizza. Genius. Alright. So we kind of hit everybody's metal parts. Realistically, I think the next thing that really needs doing is another green pass. I'm a little conflicted because I think they're okay right now, but they can definitely be better, and I think just one more pass, in the words of, who was the guy from Star Wars in the snowspeeder? Dak? So one more pass. I don't remember. But I do think that's it. One more pass. We'll try this. This is the airbrush paint, green skin. Not as dark as my dark green. Not as light as my light green. Hopefully right in the middle. I've also kind of run out of room on my paint rack. I had not considered that might happen. I thought I would keep the collection pretty small. But I guess that's for people who know how to properly mix their paints to get new colors. and I'm not proficient at that yet. So I might need to expand my storage. Oh, moment of truth here. Ooh. Let's not a little bit. Let's mix it up. It goes on nicely. It might have gotten a little bit thick here, but that's not a problem for these big plates. Shouldn't be, at least. Opa! Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, I'll have to play around later and see if I can change some saturation settings maybe, so it feels a little closer to how it looks in real life. Yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be a winner of a color. So hopefully when I get around to that other squad, the intercessors, I might try a whole different process with them. I'll start with the gray primer probably, and then I'll just try and airbrush the base coat on in green. Hopefully save some time and effort. And hopefully not create a completely different looking squad that doesn't match these guys at all. That would be awkward. Alright, any other notably green spots? Guys, under armor area got a little ignored. Probably just because it won't be very visible on the final result. Okay, well, I definitely feel like that green is going to... Hoppa! And then there's like, did you drop something? Is it something for me? I think the weakness in the color on these guys shows up the most on the helmet, so I think this green is going to come in really clutch on bringing that up to snuff with the rest of the mini. Not sure why that happened. I think maybe I just used a thinner concentration on the helmets to avoid accidentally filling in the details. And I might have just overdone it. I mean, to be fair, all of these guys have only really had one pass so far with the base coat thing. Only the test guy, the initial test guy, got more than one, I think. So, not totally crazy, but they wouldn't have perfect coverage right off the bat. It's the slightest upside out. A little bit of transition here we can do. And part of me is kind of okay with the darker color toward the back of the minis. I feel like that might help sell the idea of, you know, they've got the fire illuminating them from the front and the back is left in shadow. And then there's Test Boy here. He had a couple of coats. I think he also might have gotten the shade as well. So there's definitely some more darkness in his panel lines that I don't remember doing. that I can't account for any other way. Why, hello there, little Snoop. What do you think you're doing down there? Did you sniff some crumbs? I promise I'm not gonna drop anything. Well, I know that sounds like a mean promise, but it's for your good, puppy. This guy looks like he's a little stylistically shaded, but I kind of like it. Yeah, let's see if I can pick up another bite size of pizza. That's funny. Also, hello, sister. These pets, they be synced up to cause mischief. That is the truth. We're all connected to the same chaotic satellite in which they receive their dastardly directives to get into trash cans, piss on things that they're not supposed to. While simultaneously being the cutest creations on earth. Oh no, this guy had a frickin' canister on his waist. Excuse me. Let's see if the silver is still activated. Squeeze that a little bit. That was almost perfect. Give me a little bit more. Yeah. That'll do for now. Yeah, seeing that, these are definitely going to need at least one other color. Probably red. That always felt like a good match for the Salamanders. Ooh, hopefully there's not still metallic in this brush that's suddenly making all the green sparkly. That would be bad. There's helmet. We have crossed the 2-hour mark. So I'm probably not going to keep it going much longer. Let's see if there comes to be more activity in the future. We can keep it going longer. But for now, try and keep it succinct, especially since I'll be uploading them afterwards. Try and keep the bloat to a minimum. This is the guy whose fingers were weirdly ungreen. Just go across the tips there. Look at that, they just top to left. Right. Yeah, once I finish, I think with this pass of the green, we'll go ahead and call it. So we got about half the squad left, and then the next, well, depending on what I get done off camera, I think the next step will be probably I'll go in and do the red for the fuel canisters and the purity seals scattered around them. And a second pass of the brown on the gold and leather bits. So assuming that goes smoothly and quickly, they might already have the gold bits done by the time we do the next stream. But they might not. That might be where we pick up the next one. So with the gold. And then we'll also do the lenses on their eyes at that point. I'll definitely do the airbrush OSL experiment off camera. I'm not going to have a noisy airbrush going on stream or on video. So if that works, then you'll be able to see the result. But these guys are, when you see it like that, coming along pretty quickly, actually. Which is good. I don't want to have to spend a lot of time on all of these squads. Trying to look nice, of course, but there's So many to get through. I want to get them ready in a timely manner. And he's working on his shoulder. I'm curious to see how much this green will get obliterated by yellow when I do the glowing. Or if it'll show through a little bit. The test guy, basically none of his green survived. The sponge completely replaced the green with the orange and the yellow. So, kind of think the same will happen with the airbrush, but at the same time, the airbrush paint tends to come out a lot thinner, so I guess there's a possibility it'll be different. Nina's under the desk now, and her head pops up every time I put something in my mouth. Good. That's 5. 1/2 done. I haven't mastered the technique yet for these snack chopsticks. I think they're supposed to go over the top of my fingers like this. I haven't really had occasion to use them until now. Sarge have pretty good coverage. Not too worried about him. So maybe this back leg here, just kind of rough. Ooh. I'm choking on pizza crust. This one is pretty good too. See, we can do a little bit more of the shoulder trim. Back plate is kind of wonky. Opa, he's out of sight. fuzzy metal head. There's some here, here. Oh, what is stretchy top? Okay, sweetie. Okay. Put this a little smoother. That'll do for you. Alright. Green is holding up. It's getting a little thick here. I'm gonna make it do 2 more minutes though. This guy, maybe on his strength now. Ah, it's gonna have one on his belt too. No. What are you sniffing on my plate for, punk? What are you sniffing on my plate for? You know it's not for you. Should I check for crumbs? She's never been fed a day in her life. Sustained eye contact. This guy got some bare bones fingers as well. And number 10, this guy, he's already got some work on him. We'll see. Again, I feel like it's kind of ideal if it's not too bright in the back, so that it can have kind of the feeling of being shadowed by the glow in the front. That's not supposed to be there. Be gone, Brown. Now that I say that, I feel like this orange that I use as the base of the gloves come across a little brown. I think that probably has something to do with being layered on the green. We'll have to see if there's anything that can be really done about that. Maybe try it with the airbrush. The nice thing about doing it with the sponge was that it was very quick, very easy. Considering using one of them as a tool, I would definitely recommend it. It's very noob friendly. Oops, someone's gonna go on a walk. Not really doing much else on this. Alright. Well, I think that is gonna about do it for this one. All the Infernus Marines, I think, have a pretty solid green on them, a solid green base. I certainly plan to do some shading with them. I've got some Nuln oil for shading that I used on the Blood Ravens, and so they'll need some highlights in green to recover from that. But they've got a solid green base coat. They've got their metal, and I think that's looking pretty good. There's a couple of them who I did not notice until later have fuel canisters on their belts for ammo, so I gotta get those. Let's see, maybe I only missed one guy. He's got one. Okay, so I only missed one. That's pretty good. I'm gonna get it right now. But yeah, so got bases for all the metal on the minis. So next step we'll do the red for the purity seals, and I think that I'll just go ahead while I have it and use it for trim on these fuel canisters. They've all got some, like, I don't know, hoses or wires or something that wrap around them, and just seems like it would be fitting for trim rather than having flat silver across the whole mini. Well, not the whole mini, but the whole accessory. So we'll do some red there. You can see it right here on this guy. He's got the fuel canister. There's this skull in the middle, and there's got these hoses or rims at the top and the bottom. So we'll do that in red, and the skull as well, I guess. Why not? I feel like it would be a little bit too much to paint the skull a skull color, because I feel like I mean, it's Warhammer, so it's probably just a skull for skull's sake, but to me it seems like, oh, this is a hazard. And those aren't typically marked out like this is a real skull. Although, I guess on warning signs and stuff, skulls are usually still picked out in white. But that's not really going to show up on the metal, I don't think. So, red it is. And then next time I will be sure to have a bit of new narrative ready, continuing the the findings of Squad Aurora and leading them to their fateful encounter on Martyr's Hold. Okay. Yeah, this hose, this is definitely part of the gun. It's not on this canister on his belt. So, all the metal parts will also look a lot better once they've been treated with a wash, an oil wash, or I guess Null oil is called that, but it's not technically an oil wash. It's just an acrylic wash, I guess. I don't know if I have the guts to do oil washing just yet. But we've got a nice roadmap, I think. So. And sometime this week I'll shoot a little introduction for the completed Squad Aurora, so that they can be formally completed. But in the next time we can expect to come back to a somewhat advanced Salamanders Infernus squad. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you next time, and this is Daft Pirate signing off.